Each year on a weekend in June, Our Lady of Perpetual Help on North Front Street in New Bedford hosts its annual Polish Festival. It's kind of a one-of-a-kind event. It's being held on Father's Day weekend, June 17th and June 18th. The Polish population is comparatively small in New Bedford, but they are robust, they are active, and here to talk about the Polish Festival is a parishioner, a former mayor of New Bedford, and the current Register of Deeds for the Southern District of Bristol County, Fred Kalis. Mayor, good to see you again.
Jim, good to see you also.
First, tell us a little bit about OLPH. How old is it? When did this festival start?
The parish itself is approximately 115 years old. It's a Roman Catholic church in the Diocese of Fall River that has been focused primarily and dedicated to the Polish community of New Bedford and now, unfortunately, southeastern Massachusetts. The parishes that were typically identified as nationality parishes have all disappeared in the Fall River Diocese when it comes to the Polish language. There's still some limited Polish masses that are said, but the main part of the population of the parish is still of Polish ancestry.
And so well over 100 years old. Tell us a little bit about the festival. When did it start? How old is that?
The festival, from what I've been able to gather from history, is about 75, 76 years old. And has been constantly held in New Bedford each and every year. Now it's identified with the Father's Day weekend, which was kind of a marketing ploy to make sure people didn't forget that it was taking place. It also ends up being a very nice place to be able to have a family reunion or to bring Dad on a special day, maybe with some special culinary likes that he may have, and the families that turn out have always enjoyed the event.
Has it always been held on the church grounds, or in fact, was it somewhere else?
Yeah, in fact, it was someplace else. Many of the Polish festivals here in New Bedford were conducted at the old Clubwitz Farm at the top of Coggeshall Street in Fairhaven. I mean, at one time, there was as many as 6 Polish festivals across the summer. The churches, veterans organizations, social clubs. But today, the Polish Festival of Our Lady of Perpetual Help is the last of the Polish festivals in New Bedford.
And as we mentioned in our opening remarks, it's still really going strong, although you are now welcoming folks from not only all over the city, but all over the region.
It's amazing. The major draw for out-of-towners has been the musical selections that we've chosen. Polka bands are still very, very active throughout Massachusetts, predominantly in the West. You don't see many coming into southeastern Mass, Fall River, Taunton, New Bedford much longer, except for the Polish festivals. And being the last of those, the 2 bands that we bring in are really mainline polka bands. Eddie Foreman and his orchestra from Central Mass, and then Lenny Glamuka and his Chicago Push, which originated in the Midwest and made its way east. And both groups do a fantastic job.
So what do we see? Describe the setting for us for that weekend.
Well, most people are familiar with the neighborhood because of Antonio's Restaurant. And it's the big white church directly behind Antonio's on North Front Street. North Front Street gets blocked between Coggeshall and Beadle Street. The church parking lot, which is on the east side of the street, has 3 very large circus-type tents. One is for dancing, one is for games of chance and raffles, and the largest of them is the food tent, under which people can come. They sit at tables and chairs, go through a buffet-type line, and pick up the various Polish food items that are being sold.
How many folks attend this event? As we've said, the Polish population has shrunk to some degree, over the years, but still lots of folks come, and you're saying they're coming from out of town, basically.
Absolutely. We see them coming from the Cape. We see them coming from the Fall River area. And, you're right. Many of the last names that we hear of the people, they introduce themselves, so we ask who they are not Polish in recognition. However, somewhere in that family, there was a babci or a jaju, which was a grandfather, that come along and say, hey, we've got to go back and enjoy some food or to reminisce. Last year, we had a family of 25 come and gather for a reunion. And I mean, that was something that was out of the ordinary. They called us ahead of time to reserve tables, which we typically don't do. But for 25 people, we were happy to save some tables so they had a place to go once they got there.
You're listening to Townsquare Sunday. I'm Jim Phillips. My guest is the Register of Deeds for the Southern Bristol District, former Mayor Fred Kalis. We're talking about the Polish Festival coming up on Father's Day weekend at Our Lady of Perpetual Health Church. This, behind the church, I guess there's the grounds. Is it spread out any more than that?
No, it's just the two sides of the street. Okay. The side of the church, which has the parking grounds, as you say, are used for parking. And there's also the city municipal parking lot behind Katalimar and behind the old Terrain Hotel that is used for parking, and then in the neighborhood. So it's easily accessible right off the Highway 195, and certainly plenty of parking for people to find.
Hundreds of folks?
No, Jim, I'd go a little bit larger. We have seen crowds as large as 1,500 to 1,800 on a Sunday. Beautiful weather. Saturday, very large crowds. People will come for one of two purposes. Usually they're coming to buy the food and eat it there hot at the tents. Or, which people don't often realize, they can come and buy frozen foods, all pre-packed in quantities that they can take home with them.
Now, we don't have rookies making this food, do we? We've got very experienced Polish cooks.
You are talking about experience. We were looking the other day at some of the folks that were there. Two of the gentlemen that are on the stove that were making the cabbage soup and making sure that the turnovers, the pierogi, were coming out well. One was 91, one was 80, and it's just amazing. The parish is an older parish. Many of the younger people have moved away, but it's been that will of the Polish people, the older Polish people, to keep everything going, and for younger people like myself to look to the future of realizing we have to take over.
You went to this festival as a boy.
Changed
much?
It hasn't. It really hasn't. The concept of the tents in the parking lot was new and was added. It used to be across the street behind the church. It was up at Clubwoods Farm. It's always been the same. The focus on polka music has intensified, but the one thing that is always the top of the list is people coming to eat.
Where can people go to learn more about the festival? I know the church website has information.
Exactly. The church website at OLPH in newbedford.com, I believe is the correct website address, has the flyer and has the map and instructions for the event. You can always call the church itself at Our Lady of Perpetual Help on 238 North Front Street in New Bedford. Other than that...
Facebook, you got a Facebook page.
That's correct. I forgot about that, the Facebook page. We've improved to social media.
So what's it like being the Register of Deeds? I bet it's quieter than being the mayor.
It is. It's a position of significant importance because you're the archivist for all of the records of finances and mortgages and special directions given by the courts. And it's where everyone really clarifies property rights. And I'm enjoying. I've been in the position now for a couple of months. And as a result of that, I've, hit the ground running, knew the neighborhood, know the city itself, and the towns, which I also now represent, of Acushnet, Fairhaven, Dartmouth, and Westport. So it's a new challenge. I'll be there for at least 22 months and then stand for election for a future, advancement in term.
Do you plan to do that
Yes,
now?
That was a commitment that I had to make to the county commissioners when they interviewed me for the position.
And it is a lot different than being mayor.
Oh, it is.
For sure.
There's no question about that. I mean, I deal with people on economic development issues, but it's certainly transactional analysis type situations where we're looking at property and making sure everything is bound off correctly. Not many people come running into the office to say they have a problem, and we can usually handle everything in a very calm fashion. And I've got a very wonderful and professional staff that are there and experienced. And the operation runs very, very smoothly. And now with my management hand, we anticipate to get even better.
You done with city politics?
Well, I'm the Register of Deeds, and that handles basically all the property rights in the city of New Bedford. So I have a voice in politics. Obviously, it's a political position.
Yeah.
And I also have a voice in the administration of how the city operates when it comes to the enforcement of regulations and laws and interpretations of the zoning rules and land court. So the answer is I'm still in it.
Yeah.
But will I be running for mayor? The answer is no.
Okay. So what happens now? You serve for 22 months and then you're up for re-election. It's a position that folks really don't know a great deal about. There's not articles every day in the paper like when you were mayor, detailing what the administration did. But this is different. This is a different, quieter. I think, it's considered to be a professional position. And doesn't have a lot of action, though.
Well, it's not that there's not often a lot of action. You're dealing with a different type of clientele. Many of the lawyers and real estate brokers that we deal with are seasoned individuals that understand the process, come to us when there's the technical issue, and then making sure that the staff is readily available, well-trained, and in place. I mean, I have 2 staff members that are approaching 40 years of service in that registry of deeds. The youngest member of our staff is 4 years on the job, and then the others come in around 22 to 25 years. So you're talking about experienced people. In my case, I'm able to apply my doctoral degree in law as well as my experience in government to bring to that position the management background that the commissioners are looking for.
Yeah, that experience is invaluable, having those people there. If you ever you manage people in your whole professional life here, and when I did it, having somebody there who knows about what you know, maybe more in some cases if they've been there longer, it's invaluable.
It is.
It is really hard to find sometimes. We're speaking with former Mayor Fred Kalis, now the Register of Deeds in the Southern Bristol District, and also a parishioner at Our Lady of Perpetual Help, which is holding its Polish Festival. It's coming up Father's Day weekend, the 17th and the 18th. Jumping back to the festival, Fred, because
Understand?
We have. Do you remember going there as a youngster? What do you remember most about it?
Well, I remember when it was conducted around the school. We attended school there in a building that once stood behind the church, and it was an exciting event. Today we don't have that same depth of activity within the parish. We don't have a school, but much of it is still the same. The food service, the food that's available, the music, the games of chance, they haven't changed very much. And that's part of the festival that we all enjoy.
Yeah.
It's 2 days. It starts Saturday at 11 a.m. and goes till 8 p.m. at night. And on Sunday, which people often don't understand, we start at 12 o'clock and go till 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Now, people say, well, it's a Catholic church. What happens about Mass? Well, Saturday Mass is canceled, and Sunday Mass is what we call a polka Mass. And people have often heard about the folk masses of the 60s and 70s. Well, Eddie Foreman and the orchestra move inside the church and to a polka beat present the music for the Mass. And it's interesting. It's certainly toe-tapping. No one's dancing in the aisles, but there have been times when cultural organizations, dance companies, have come to the service as well.
Did this festival ever go with the let's expand into carnival rides and all of that stuff? No.
This has always just been a very, very simple church festival with the booths that were administered by the people of the parish, many of them doing the same concession year after year after year and enjoying what they've done. But it's never expanded to that next step.
All right, Fred, let's go one more time on the dates and times here and where it's located and all of that.
The festival will be held on the grounds of Our Lady of Perpetual Help Parish on North Front Street, off of Coggeshall in the city of New Bedford. Many of you will recognize it as the church behind Antonio's Restaurant. It'll take place on Father's Day weekend, Saturday the 17th from 11 till 8 p.m., and on Sunday from noon until 5 p.m., with the Polish polka mass being conducted at 11 o'clock in the church.
Okay, and all the delicious Polish food as well available?
I'll tell you, Jim, between the pierogi and the different flavors, be it cabbage or cheese or potato, the stuffed cabbage, the gołąbki, the kielbasa and the kapusta, the cabbage soup, they're all there, and usually to everyone's excellent liking.
I love this flyer. It says, bring your own chairs, free parking.
That's correct.
Can't beat that, Fred. Fred Kalis has been my guest, former mayor, and also the Register of Deeds for the Southern Bristol District and a parishioner at Our Lady of Perpetual Help. Thanks for coming in, Fred, and I wish the parish really good luck with their annual Polish festival. It should be a great time. I'm sure the funding goes to the parish itself.
The operation of the parish, exactly.
It should be a great time. Thanks for
Jim, thank you, and thank you for this opportunity.
And that is it for today's program. I would like to thank our production assistant, Brian Rose, for his help this week, and Casey Sylvia, the morning co-host and valued member of the WBSM digital team, for getting these segments archived on our website. If you go to the What's Hot section near the top of the website, you'll see the words Townsquare Media. Click on that. You'll be your connection to just about all of the recent segments of the program. Thanks for listening. I'm Jim Phillips. Have a wonderful week and a great Sunday.